Max Verstappen has never been one to mince words. He's brash, unapologetic, and completely unfiltered. And that's precisely what's made him both a four-time world champion and one of the most polarising figures the sport has ever seen. But what he just said has taken things to a whole new level. Just one penalty point away from an automatic race ban, with the pressure of the championship closing in and the spotlight more intense than ever, most drivers would show a hint of caution, maybe soften their tone, maybe admit fault, or at the very least acknowledge the consequences. Verstappen? Not even close. Instead, he's done the opposite. He didn't just shrug off the threat of a suspension, he looked it straight in the eye and told the world it wouldn't change a thing. Not his mindset, not his driving, not even his aggression. Missing a race wouldn't be the end of the world, he said, with a confidence so sharp it's almost provocative. And just like that, he sent a message not only to the FIA, but to every rival on the grid. You can penalise me, you can threaten me, but you will not change me. That one statement has rattled the sport, because it challenges the very idea that rules and the fear of punishment are what keep even the best drivers in check. Verstappen has flipped that on its head. He's not just racing for points anymore. He's racing on principle, on instinct, on identity. And now, the FIA faces a dilemma. Back down and risk losing control, or double down and risk igniting a war with the biggest name in Formula One today. Stay with us, because this isn't just about a penalty. It's about power, reputation, and what happens when an unstoppable driver meets an unbending system. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and keep watching, because whatever happens next, it's going to change everything. At the heart of the storm is the now infamous clash with George Russell during the final laps of the Spanish Grand Prix. After an intense three-stop strategy and degrading tyres, Verstappen was ordered to let Russell through following an off-track excursion. He obliged, until turn 5, when in a flash of rebellion, he pushed back, literally. His Red Bull made firm contact with the Mercedes. It was a manoeuvre that sparked outrage across the paddock and led to a swift 10-second penalty and 3 penalty points. That incident alone pushed Verstappen's super licence to 11 points. Just one short of triggering a one-race suspension. What followed was a chorus of speculation. Would Verstappen tone down his driving? Would he play it safe in Canada? Would Red Bull ask him to change his approach for the sake of the title? The answer, delivered by Verstappen himself, was a resounding no. Speaking to Sky Sports and later to reporters in Montreal, Verstappen made his stance crystal clear. A race ban? It's not the end of the world, he shrugged. Not only does he refuse to change, he doesn't even believe the penalty points are entirely fair. According to him, life isn't fair, and he has no intention of racing any differently because of what might happen. In his words, he's just going to race like I always do. I trust myself. This is more than just bravado. It's a declaration of intent and a direct challenge to the FIA. Because Verstappen is not backing down, not softening his edges, not adjusting his style to appease the rule makers. And that alone has sparked a new wave of tension between the governing body and one of its most dominant drivers. Lando Norris, who has shared countless wheel-to-wheel moments with Verstappen, offered a unique perspective. Norris knows better than most how aggressive, how fiercely competitive Verstappen can be. Yet even he defended the Red Bull star's approach. Norris said Max is who he is because of how he races, and changing that would mean losing the very essence of what makes him great. Norris acknowledged that what happened in Spain was different, more than just aggressive defending. It was, in his words, beyond the usual. But he also pointed out something that perhaps gets lost in the outrage. Verstappen admitted his mistake. The Dutchman publicly said the incident was wrong and shouldn't have happened. That level of accountability, rare in a sport fueled by egos, shows a layer of maturity that's often overshadowed by his relentless style. Still, accountability doesn't erase the risk, and that's what makes Verstappen's stance so explosive. One more slip-up, one more borderline move, and he's out of a race. Not just any race, potentially one that could decide the championship. Yet Verstappen isn't just willing to take that risk. He's embracing it. Because for him, there's something worse than sitting out a weekend, being forced to dilute what he calls his true racing self. That puts the FIA in a precarious position. On one hand, they've made the rules clear. The point system exists to deter reckless driving, and it applies equally to everyone, even four-time world champions. But on the other hand, the sport thrives on characters like Verstappen. The uncompromising win-at-all-costs mentality is what brings millions to their screens every Sunday. If the FIA clamps down too hard, they risk sterilising the very essence of racing. But if they let it slide, they undermine their own authority. It's a dilemma that's already playing out in real time. Derek Warwick, one of the most seasoned FIA stewards, recently doubled down on the penalty given to Verstappen. He called the move absolutely wrong and defended the steward's decision as perfect. But even Warwick acknowledged that Verstappen's mindset, while problematic in this case, is exactly what makes him a world champion. The wider paddock is split. Some argue Verstappen needs to be reined in, especially with younger drivers watching. Others say his style is the purest form of racing we have left. What's not in doubt is the fact that Max Verstappen is walking a razor's edge. The next two races, Canada and Austria, will be high-stakes theatre. Every overtake, every defensive move, every radio message will be scrutinised through the lens of his penalty point situation. And then there's the psychological warfare. Verstappen's comments weren't just for the media. They were a message to his rivals, to the stewards, and perhaps even to his own team. They scream confidence, but they also raise the stakes. Because now, if he does slip up, it won't be seen as an accident. It'll be seen as defiance catching up with him. What comes next could redefine this season. Verstappen could respond with a string of dominant, disciplined drives and turn this narrative into one of redemption and resurgence. Or he could falter, and in doing so, open the door for a new title contender, maybe even Oscar Piastri, or his own teammate. Whatever the outcome, one thing's for certain. Verstappen has forced F1 to confront a fundamental question. Do we want perfection or passion? Compliance or combat? The answer may come not in press conferences, but on the tarmac, corner by corner. So don't miss what happens next. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications, because the battle lines have been drawn, and the next chapter in this high-octane saga is just beginning.